How nice does it sound to do absolutely nothing? To lay in bed all day, or simply just to watch TV and play video games. Yes, that may sound lovely at first, but doing nothing is actually difficult for most people. A study conducted where the participants were led into a room with 0 distractions, no phone, no books, no screens, nada. They weren't even allowed to nap. Electrodes were fitted to their ankles and the candidates were left alone for 15 minutes. But before being left alone, they were shown a button, and this button would actually give them an electric shock every time they pressed it. And you might think having pressed it once, they would refrain from pressing it again. Wrong. 71% of the men and 25% of the women actually gave themselves an electric shock at least once. And astonishingly, one man actually shocked himself 190 times. And it turns out having nothing to do was mind-numbingly difficult to do for the majority of the candidates. Many of the candidates tortured themselves rather than putting up with 0 distractions. Sure, this is an extreme example, but this perfectly portrays how people choose to do things that they do not need to do, which they end up with less than favourable outcomes. Most people don't know how to sit within themselves, and sometimes the productivity mindset is a switch that is hard to turn off, because naturally we like to focus on things no matter how small it is. And if you think about it, when was the last time you was actually bored? Can you remember? And if you do, it was probably a long time ago. Laziness is kind of a lost art, and it's been eluding us for many years. Doing nothing is almost unheard of. And as a result of boredom eluding us, we find it difficult to deal with low-level stimuli. So when we need to do something that requires you to slow down and focus a little, it is initially quite difficult. And we find it hard to pull ourselves away from all these distractions. And on one side, you might say getting rid of boredom is a good thing. We'll have a little bit of an argument against that. When we're bored, our minds wander. And when your mind wanders, your attention rests. And when you have these moments of laziness, our minds think about the present, past, and future. And a study has proved this. And the research actually concluded when people's minds wandered, it was around 48% in the future, 28% in the present, and around 12% in the past. And the remains are most probably blank and just dull moments. And this just illustrates the wandering mind is not as useless as you may think. We think about the future 14 times more often when our attention is free to roam, compared to when we just focus on one thing. So without even realizing it, we're reflecting on long-term goals, setting our intentions about the future. We come up with new ideas. Can you remember the last time you thought of an idea or a creative solution? The chances are that it didn't happen when you're racing to beat a deadline. Instead, you might have been in the shower, or just going for a walk, or just sitting there on a park bench watching everyone else as they go by. And this makes time for our brains to recharge. And when our brains rest, it's actually conserving mental energy. So when the time is perfect, it can use it on the right things. And just maybe you should be a little bit more lazy. Whether it's just to give your mind a rest or a wander, your ideas may come up when you least expect it. And just maybe, it's better to do nothing at all. Anyways guys, that brings me to a close of my video. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Please like this video if you thought it gave you some value. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Please comment below if you have anything to say. I am loving your feedback so far. Let me know what country you are coming from. I would love to see. I reply to all my messages. I appreciate you guys. See you in the next video. Bye bye.